Good morning. We're going to take a look at a cantilever retrofit for an existing Moss type M18 or M21 video mounted proofer. This is a representative model of our several different machines, and the cantilever installation is pretty much the same for all of them. What we need to do is we're going to be able to cantilever the customer's press cylinder. The cylinder we have in here today is a demount cylinder, but your regular press cylinder would sit in the machine in its standard plate cylinder support rollers, just like it does now. The cantilever system consists of the cantilevering bracket right here, which has a bushing on it configured to your shaft design. Downward pressure is applied to the shaft at this point, causing the other end to lift up and become unweighted on the left-hand plate cylinder support. Once this is unweighted, I can disconnect the quick disconnect from here, and let me of course apply pressure. Slide the left-hand plate cylinder support down onto the hinge beam section. The hinge beam section then swings out of the way, allowing free access to put on and off your print sleeves. Any kind of a print sleeve can go on at this point. The shaft is held securely in place by the cantilever assembly here and is free hanging at this point. If you have a shaft here, you normally then would install an air fitting under the end of the shaft or into the head of the cylinder itself. I normally use a quick disconnect for my air fittings, and it would be threaded in here. In this application, I'm going to thread it into the head for our cylinder. This can go in loosely. It doesn't have to be really tight. A little bit of air leak doesn't matter. A hose is hooked up to the air system. It would click into the quick disconnect out here, or in this case, in here. On the left-hand side frame is an air valve, which we would turn on. Air comes through the hose, in here, goes into the cylinder, and comes out the air holes that are already drilled in your cylinder. The sleeve we're going to use today is a Moss type aero mount sleeve. The way we put it on is similar for any sleeve going onto a cantilever system. You slide it over the end of the shaft, up onto the end of the cylinder for a moment, and slide your cylinder into place. The air is then turned off and allowed to bleed out, and the sleeve collapses and holds to the cylinder. I then disconnect my air line, and I've been doing multiple plates to be mounted. In this case, could leave my fitting on as long as it doesn't interfere with the proofing, if I am proofing. I then swing my plate cylinder support back into position, slide it up to its spot, tighten it securely, disconnect my cantilever. That drops this end down so it's free to spin on the plate cylinder supports, and you can mount the cylinder as you would mount any flexographic job. The cantilever bracket can be released from the device. The bushing would come off, and the whole cylinder can come out of the machine if necessary to go to the press or to switch to a different size. Each of the bushings is custom made to, as I said earlier, to fit an exact design. This comes down and the safety latch comes in and locks into place and holds this down. Now, the device gets fitted to the beam, bolted in place at the end of the beam here. At the other end, when you're doing a retrofit, you need to remove the original lockdown system here and replace it with the quick disconnect assembly here and the V-shaped rails that are bolted to the front of the machine. The swing beam attachment that is installed at the end of the beam is attached on the rear with bolts, comes into place. The surfaces are carefully aligned so the motion of sliding back and forth is smooth and occurs easily for the operator. We also have air valves that get installed in this point. Okay. This is the swing beam extension from the left-hand side of the machine. It is bolted to the back of the beam. It doesn't interfere with the usual use of the plate cylinder supports. As I said before, this gets bolted on and carefully aligned so that the surfaces match up, so that the plate cylinder support can easily come over and swing out of the way. The air system travels through the beam by means of plumbing. You attach the valve to here, which hooks up to the existing air system of the machine. It's set to run at your line air pressure, which is generally around 70 to 90 psi. Thank you and good mounting.